What's up? This is Adam of Evergrowth Coaching. I want to talk about this idea of separatitis. It's a concept that I've been playing around with lately, and I see it gets in the way of people developing themselves as leaders frequently. The symptoms of separatitis are where people start to see things happening out there, or wherever they happen to be, stuff outside of themselves as separate from themselves. Some easy ones are my boss is a jerk, and as a result of that, I can't move up in my position. My husband was a complete asshole, and I refuse to forgive him until he does something different. Or even, it's not for me to take this on in my life. There's these people leading me that are not showing up the way they claim to be showing up, and I don't want to take anything like that on. They need to do the work, then maybe I'll take the work on. And separatitis is really a problem of, I think in psychology they call it the locus of control, being external to ourselves. That sounds good. I don't really care about that. What I care about is that as soon as we put something external to ourselves, as soon as we identify a problem as being out there, we lose all power to grow ourselves as a leader. And the truth of leadership is that it's about bringing things inside so that we can work on it. It's about owning how things are showing up around us, owning the circumstances of our life. And only then can we really create the life that we want. Can we really birth into the world what we intend to be a leader for? And so I see this often with people. You know, one of the things where it frequently comes up is when we're training and developing someone as a coach and a leader. We have a very rigorous program at Accomplishment Coaching where I train coaches and develop leaders. People go through this work and we tell them, look, you're going to get to the point where you're going to want to quit. The reason being that everyone has an edge. And our job, if we're developing them, is to get them to that edge so that they can have all their stuff show up in the face of that edge, and then we can coach them to move past it, to not have that edge stop them anymore. The way most people want to do these things is they want to get to this point and then go around it and then continue on their journey. They don't want to have to confront the edge. None of us do. That's the reason everyone's not already naturally leading everywhere, and why even people that are running companies and stuff are still not showing up with the being of leaders. And so you often see this when people get brought to their edge, especially in a program like ours where it's designed to bring them here. They reach a point where they get confronted and suddenly the problem is this program I'm in. And instead of actually taking a look at, hey, how is what's showing up here familiar? How is this the same way things go elsewhere in my life? What is there here for me? And then using this program where they're coached and trained and have their leadership really developed and brought forward, instead of using this program to support them, they separate themselves. They put the program out there so then they can stay back and they can say, you know what the problem really is? This thing over here that I'm in, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to quit that. And they set that aside and it allows them to stay here. They don't actually have to move beyond that edge. And so separatitis is really a problem where any time we're up to something in life, we decide the problem's out there and we solve the problem being out there by quitting, by getting a new job, by dating someone new, by moving on, as opposed to really staying with that thing that we're uncomfortable with and moving beyond it that way. You can hear this in certain like Zen kind of sayings where people talk about the way is never around, it's through. Or the thing that's in the way is the way. As soon as we hold like, oh, that thing that's in my way, I need to go over here or around it, we've lost sight of the real opportunity that's available. Separatitis. So some questions that I might ask someone, coaching questions, when I notice they're in separatitis. First coaching question, how is this familiar? How is what's going on here consistent or familiar or perhaps a pattern that you've seen elsewhere in your life? And if people are really willing to take a look, they can really create something from here because we can start to see like, actually this thing is no different than that thing over there. And the thing that's in common is this guy right here. And then we can start to do that work. People dodge this question or let themselves off the hook by saying it's not. Well, That's not the answer to my question. My question is, how is this familiar for you? Second question is, what's predictable about how it goes? You know, you've been here before, I'm asserting. How does it go from this point? What if this pattern that you have, where you get to this point and then take that usual thing, like, what's the next step in this cycle? Because you know how it goes. You've been here before. Remember, we're looking inside, and when we're looking inside, there's a huge wealth of familiarity that you can bring to bear on what's going on. Third question. If this wasn't the place where you stopped, I get it. We're up to the edge right here. But if this was the time when you moved past this, you actually addressed this, instead of stopping at this edge, instead of this thing getting in your way, you actually moved beyond here and created this, what would be available? What would be different? What might be possible if you never had to stop here ever again? I'm not trying to trick people here. I'm actually having them take a look at what would be available and possible in their lives if they didn't get stopped by this thing. That's the only reason ever to take on this kind of growth, is because we see something available on the other side of it. Most of us develop lives based in turning away from our edge, avoiding confronting our edge. We're avoiding the breakdown instead of really going for the breakthrough. Remember, in order to create a breakthrough, you got to be willing to push through the breakdown. Breakdowns always precede breakthroughs. And so I want to have people take a look at what's available on that other side of the edge. Not so I can force them or trick them into doing something, but so that they can actually see for themselves what they might be cheating themselves out of if they turn around here like they always do. All right, that's all I got for today. Love you guys.